Creating custom Pokemon for you! Welcome back, everyone, to the show where we select lucky commenters to spin a series of random wheels that give us factors for a Pokemon that we then create just for you. It's gonna be an awesome episode today, y'all. We're gonna make 3 amazing custom Pokemon as always, so if you end up liking today's video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe so you don't miss the next one. And of course, if you want a custom Pokemon for yourself, don't forget to leave a comment under this video because I'll be randomly selecting people from this video's comments for the next one. But without further ado, let's get into the first Pokemon. And this one will be for Slender Shadow. I'm glad you liked Glimmergate in its corrupted form in the last episode. That was one of my favorite too. But anyway, Shadow, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be regular. There ain't nothing wrong with that. Now let's see how many times your Pokemon can evolve, and you are going to get 2, which makes you a full 3-stage evolution line. Now let's see what typing your Pokemon's going to be. Your first type is going to be the Grass type. That is good. That's actually one of my favorite types to make designs for. And Grass Ground type. Ground type is my favorite type of all time, so I love this. And the last step before we see what your Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and you do a signature ability. This Pokemon's stacked. Get ready to see a Pokemon with a face only a Kangaskhan could love. The first stage of your Pokemon is Cruspud, the zombie potato Pokemon. These Pokemon are extremely shy and spend most of their time buried underground, only digging up to the surface when they absolutely have to. At level 22, it would evolve into Rotato. These Pokemon are hated by most societies as they're believed to carry diseases. And the truth is, they kinda do. But it's not really their fault because their body naturally produces a very strong stench that decimates all plant life that it gets near, causing this Pokemon to be hated by farmers who have to constantly battle them away from their crops in order to keep them safe. And this is reflected in its signature ability, Blight Breath, which states that any grass type that enters Rotato's presence will have its physical defense and attack lowered by 1 stage, as its strong stench damages the structure of their plant body. When exposed to a leaf stone, it would evolve into Blightato! Due to the rejection this Pokemon faces in its pre-evolution, it's now become extremely vengeful towards the world and especially towards farmers, as it's known to launch large-scale attacks against them, rising out of the ground one by one before turning even the largest crop fields into nothing but dirt. In terms of stats, Blightato is very bulky and has respectable physical attack. However, its speed is super mid. And for the shiny, I went with this orange color for the leaves to make them look less lively because the Pokemon has a zombie theme. But now let's get into the second Pokemon. And this one will be for Fishside, who asks how many Pokemon we've made so far. And I'll be honest, in terms of individual Pokemon, I have no idea. It's definitely a lot, but yeah, I have no clue. But anyway, Fish, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you are going to be a Paradox Pokemon. That is the very first one of the series. That is high. And it means that now we'll spin this wheel to see what generation of Pokemon will be making a Paradox form for, and it's Gen 5, my favorite generation. Awesome. And now we'll spin this wheel that has every single Gen 5 Pokemon on it, and we got Garbodor. That is a funny Pokemon. I feel like a lot of people hate this Pokemon, so hopefully we'll improve it with this new form. And now, of course, we have to spin this wheel to see if we're making a past or future Paradox Garbodor, and it is a future Paradox Garbodor. That is funny. So every Paradox form keeps at least one of its types, so we know that it'll stay poison type, but let's still spin this wheel for a secondary type. And we got the ice type. That is actually super weird because a poison ice type doesn't exist in real Pokemon. So we have to make a futuristic Garbodor with a typing that's never been done before. Wish me luck, y'all. This is gonna be difficult. Get ready to see a Pokemon that's a monument of unchecked techno-optimism. Your Pokemon is Iron Fridge, the open door Pokemon. A billion years into the future, this machine was built for one crucial purpose: to keep food cold. A mighty burden which it carried for years, never wavering and serving as a stalwart between lunch meats and bacteria. But one day, seemingly out of nowhere, Iron Fridge would suffer the greatest of betrayals as someone left left its door open. Iron Fridge could only watch helplessly as its coolant dwindled, its precious cargo becoming ever warmer by the second. Soon all was lost. The dairy, the meats, even the fruit. Oh, sweet Arceus, the fruit. Understandably, this threw Iron Fridge into an insatiable sadistic rage as it tore itself free from the wall. Now vowing for revenge, it roams the land, leaving all that crosses its path severely lukewarm. In terms of stats, Iron Fridge is incredibly bulky, but its offenses are pretty bad and its speed is horrible on account of, you know, being a fridge. And for the shiny, I actually have two options. So this is the type of shiny that Pokemon always does with the Future Paradox form, where they give it this metallic gray color, but I also made this shiny where it's a callback to the original Garbodor. I personally prefer this one, but let me know in the comments which one you think is the best shine. This one was pretty goofy, but I hope you liked it, and now let's get into the third Pokemon. And this one will be for Davian Thomas, who says that this is one of their favorite series on YouTube. Thanks so much. So alright, Davian, let's start by getting the power level of your Pokemon, and you're going to be a Convergent Evolution. Cool. And it means that now we'll spin this wheel again to see what generation of Pokemon will be making a Convergent 4, and it's Gen 2. That's super classic. And of course, now we'll spin this wheel that has every single Gen 2 Pokemon on it, and we got Magcargo. I actually really like this Pokemon, and I feel like not a lot of people know that it's from Gen 2, so maybe you just learned something. And now let's see what new typing we'll be giving to this Convergent Magcargo. Your first type is the Poison type. That is weird. We literally just got the Poison type, so that's back to back. And Poison Steel type. That's actually really cool typing. And the last step before we see which Pokemon looks like, let's see if it has an X Factor, and none this time. This little guy proves that Slow and Steady does win the race. The first stage of your Pokemon is Sludgema, the sticky tar Pokemon. These Pokemon are entirely made of a sticky material that makes it attach to anything it touches. And as you can imagine, this makes it very hard for the Pokemon to move, as it's constantly having to peel itself off of the ground with every step, resulting in it having the worst speed stat in Pokemon history of 1. But that's okay, because upon being exposed to a car tire, it would evolve into Magcargo. These Pokemon have found a loophole to their slow speed, as by attaching themselves to a wheel, they're able to spin it underneath them, never having to touch the ground themselves. And as it turns out, this Pokemon is incredibly quick when it's not being held back by its own body, as it's able to spin the wheel so fast that it's turned its speed from a stat of 1 to 111. So it's just like the old saying goes, when life gives you sticky adhesive for skin, make your way to a tire store and get a tire, because you can use it to get around. In terms of stats, of course Magcargo has very good speed, but it also has very good physical attack. But unlike the other two Pokemon from this episode, its defenses are pretty bad. And for the shiny, of course we had to go with a reference to the original Magcargo, because that's always fun. But that's gonna do it for today's episode, y'all. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe before you go. And if you want to watch more episodes of the Custom Pokemon series, there's a bunch in this playlist. I'm gonna get right back to making some awesome custom Pokemon for you, so I'll see you in the next episode, but until then, peace.